First of all, I want to thank the grace of heaven, virtue of transmitting masters, virtue of enlightened masters, mercy of our transmitter, and also the trust by our senior lecturers and all of you for the opportunity to share this topic with you. The topic is a superior person or a noble person as depicted in the Analects. The Analects is one of the four classics by Confucian. Confucian and his followers, his disciple, is one of the very important sutras by in Confucianism. And remember, last week we talked about the virtue of a noble person. Can anyone remember? There are three important traits in a noble person. First one is what? Wisdom. Claudia, do you remember? Yeah, it's wisdom, benevolence, and courage, right? Yeah. Okay. Now, why is a noble person so important in our society? Remember, this is in the white era, and so we cultivate amongst the people, and we try to lead by example. We know there's so many problems with the society, but people have the tendency to follow suit, to go by, follow some examples. So if we can give them some positive impact, then people will also learn, positive things. That's why we need true gentlemen. Always, this gentleman does not necessarily mean only men, the gender. It can also refer to any person, and so we have to lead by example. And through this presentation, I hope to relate to you what a true gentleman or a true nobleman is according to Confucius' perspective. And they are really very helpful because they are like guidelines to our everyday conduct and also what we should think in our mind. Okay, here's the next one we're going to cover. Let me see. Evelyn, can you please read it? The English?
The nobleman concerns himself with fundamentals. Once the fundamentals are established, the proper way appears. I'm not filial piety and obedient to elder fundamentals to the enactment of
Ren. Yeah, thank you. Okay, so a true person will be focusing on the essential, or the fundamentals. What are the fundamentals? It's actually the five constants, or a bigger word for them would be our Buddha nature, the conscience, right? So once we follow our conscience, we follow our Buddha nature, then we will manifest the five constants, and whatever we do will be proper. Whatever we say will be proper. And then Confucius said, filial piety, and actually there's also the Xiao Ti, which means what? Brotherhood, or loving toward your siblings. These are considered also very important element of benevolence. Okay, we talked about this, so I'm not going to go into detail with this. Okay, the second one, Ashley?
To go last, is there a single word that we can take as a guide for the actions of our whole life? Confucius said, what about reciprocity? What you don't like done to yourself, don't do to others.
Okay, I think there's also, I changed that one there, reciprocity. This is actually talking about the golden rule in the Bible, right? Do unto your others as what you want others to do unto you. And actually the message behind this is our compassion and our consideration for other people. If we all practice the reciprocity, we always put ourselves in others' shoes, then we probably would not do a lot of things we are doing in hurting other people, harming other people, or even harming our environment. Okay, and Mencius actually took this to a different level. He said, when we are poor, then we try to cultivate ourselves, or sometimes when we are not good enough, then we have to cultivate ourselves to make sure that we have good virtue and we have the right example, the right influence on people. Or sometimes when we don't have the ability to propagate the Tao or to spread the truth, we first have to practice the truth ourselves, to do good ourselves. But when we are better able, like we have, for example, we have financial stability, or we even are rich or something like that, then we try to do more to spread the Tao, like helping with the Tao. Like Zigong, he's the person who actually is funding Confucius' trip in his propagation trip to other places. Okay. Okay, now this is also almost in line with the previous one. Eric, can you please read it? Can you?
Yeah. The Zigong asked, suppose there were a ruler who benefited the people far and wide, and was capable of bringing salvation to the multitude. What would you think of him? Might he be called humane? Master said, why only humane? He would undoubtedly be a sage. Even Yao and Sun had worries that they fell short on this. Now the Lin man, wishing himself to be established, sees that others are established and wishing himself to be successful. Sees that others are successful, to be able to take one's own feelings as a guide may be called the art of living.
Okay, so for this this sentence or this paragraph, we know what kind of person or what kind of quality does the noble person have. When he wants to establish, then he also wants to make sure that other people are also established. For example, we have received the blessing, we have received the Tao, and we already feel the benefits of the Tao. Then we don't just keep the good thing to ourselves. We want to also spread the word about Tao. We want to bring people to also receive the blessing and also inspire them to cultivate the Tao so they can have a very different life. So this is what we say big compassion. Okay, it's not just perfecting ourselves. It's also helping perfecting others. And when we all do that, there's the multiplication of the good deeds and the good thoughts and the good motives. Then we can really help create a better world around us. Okay. Remember that we are in this era where we have to cultivate among people. It's not like in the white era the red era or the green era, where only certain individuals receive the mandates. They cultivate for themselves. They don't really care about others. So this is the characteristic of this era. Okay. And if you read the last line, it said to be able to take one's feeling as a guide. Well, actually, they should be in treating others. Like when we are going along with people, when we are dealing with people, know how we feel, and then use that as our guide. It's just like we don't do things to people that we don't want others to do to us, right? If we can do that, then we are really practicing benevolence and compassion. Okay, and this is a method or the art of Ren. Ren is the Chinese word benevolence. Okay, now we talk about all the some of the qualities of the traits in a noble person. Now here are some other some kind of from a different perspective. to look at what is a true noble person. So it's the essence and manifestation. What's inside of us and how we bring out the quality in us and project outward. Okay. The first one is let me see, Russia.
The master said, if essence dominates refinement, you will be coarse. If refinement dominates essence, you will be artificial. When refinement and essence are well balanced, you will be a noble man.
Thank you. Well, here the essence is talking about our inner quality or our virtue or our conscience. And the when, okay, the refinement is the manifestation of our conduct, our outward conduct. So if the quality inside of us overweighs the outward appearance, sometimes this could be coarse. I mean, you can say very unrefined or very, is there a better word? Uncultured, yeah, kind of rude or, you know, for example, a person say he has very good heart and he has compassion in his heart, but outward sometimes he find people are doing something wrong, and then he would criticize him or blame him openly and embarrass the person, and he thinks he's being just very candid. Now, sometimes depends. Some people can take very direct criticism, but other people you have to go about the bush, beat about the bush, or be more euphemistic, right? Roundabout way, yeah. So we just have to be very flexible and use our wisdom and see how we should interact with people, okay? And sometimes people say, I'm very kind, but I don't need to be careful with what, like what I'm wearing. For example, especially for adult cultivator, we also need to be careful with how we dress, right? Yeah, there's people, especially when you have to go and talk, propagate the Tao to people, and you are not dressed properly, being too fashionable, or sometimes, you dress, pants with holes and things like that, that's not very appropriate. And usually people will not have confidence with people in such kind of, appearance, okay? So this is not ideal, okay? Although inwardly, one is very kind and very compassionate, or it has a lot of conscience. Now the other one is 文圣子, which means the refinement or the outward manifestation overtakes the essence. Okay, that it becomes very artificial. But in this sentence, it means that the person does not really have so much internal cultivation, or he doesn't even have a good heart, but he or she pretends to be a very kind person. Then this is not true. This is artificial. There's an example, like in Chinese history, in Song Dynasty, there's a official called Qin Kuai, right? Qin Kuai. He's very articulate. He's very well versed. Okay, but he has a very, very bad heart. Okay, so this is it's not good. Okay, so what should be the good? What should be the good relationship between the essence and the manifestation? It should be well balanced. Okay, yeah. What's inward should be properly projected outward. Okay, because sometimes we have very good virtue, but it still relies on our outward expression, what we say, what we do, for people to know us. Yeah, that's why we have to be very careful with how we carry ourselves, how we deal with people. Okay, so when we have a good balance of the essence and the manifestation, then that's a true gentleman. Okay. Thank you. Now, this one is again, I think it's like an inside-out plus explanation of what a true gentleman should be. Claudia?
Essence and manifestation. The Master said, the noble man takes righteousness as essential. He actualizes it through propriety, demonstrates it in humility, accomplishes it with truthfulness, sincerity. This is the noble man.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so again, first of all, we have to, inside of us, we need to be righteous, we need to be compassionate, we need to be, well, just all the good quality that we talk about, okay? So that's the foundation. That's our virtue. That's the essence. But when we are practicing all this foundation or the essence, then we have to make use of our, propriety. So the second one is that when we do things, always, we have to do it with propriety. Always bear in mind, the right etiquettes, the right way to talk with people, the right way to do things. And then it says you have to also do it with humility, okay, to be humble, okay. So for example, when sometimes we have to accomplish a project with a group of people at work or at the temple, okay, first of all, we have to know what's the right thing to do, okay, and then second, when we have to tell people, what to do within the group, then we do it with, propriety. We don't just, order people, you have to do this, things like that. And again, we have to talk with people with, the humbleness, okay. Whether it's at work or at a temple, the humility of being modest is very important in, getting people, in dealing with people and also getting things accomplished. And then we also have to accomplish it with truthfulness. Remember how sincerity is when we go about things in this world. Without sincerity, nothing will be accomplished. Okay, sometimes we might be smart, but then we can get away with being smart once in a while, but that's not going to, to always give us the success or the accomplishments that we want. Okay, so sincerity is very important. Okay, so these are things that we need to bear in mind. Okay. I try to finish all my topic in this class, so I'm going too fast. But at the end of the class, I will try to, have some time for you to ask questions. This is also again dealing with, what's inside and how it projects on the outside. Okay, Guy, can you please read it?
Essence and manifestation.
指下.
Changsha said, the noble man has three appearances. From afar, he appears dignified and stern. Close up, he feels warm. When he is heard to speak, his words are firm and decided.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so a noble person, we know he has very good virtue. So from afar, he appears dignified because he really symbolizes truth and principles. Okay, but when you approach the person, a true noble man, then he's very approachable. He's very easygoing, very amiable. And when he heard to speak, when he's saying something, his words are firm and decided because he knows what the right things are. So his words will not be wavering, he will not be straying in his attitude. So he's always very decided and very firm. Okay. Guy and Brenda, you might not be familiar with our grand predecessor. He is a person of righteousness, and so if you look at the portrait in that little temple, you will see that he's a very dignified and stern person. But he's also very amiable when he's talking with people in private. And I heard, from other DAO members that, sometimes when he sees somebody does something wrong, he would criticize the person, make sure that the person knows that, this is not the right thing to do. But knowing that the person will feel very nervous or uneasy afterwards, and when they sit down to meals, he would always help the person to dishes to kind of ease the tension. Yeah. So that's a true gentleman. Okay. Okay. Now. Laura, can you please read it?
The master said, "Isn't it a pleasure to study and practice what is learned? Isn't also great when friends visit from distant place? If people do not recognize me and it does not bother me, am I not a noble man?"
Thank you. Now the next one is almost the same as this one. Vivian?
The master said, "The noble man worries about his own inability. He is not obsessed with lack of recognition."
Okay, well, these two paragraphs are talking about the same thing. So, as a true gentleman, he only worries if he's capable enough to help people, if he has learned enough of the truth or the principles, but he does not care or he's not obsessed whether he gets recognized for what he does or not. For his accomplishment, like sometimes we have a lot of DAO members here who help with temple affairs, temple projects a lot, but they always want to go to be unnoticed because that's true virtue, right? And the unspoken is actually a bigger merit for more visible merit, right? Yeah, and so we have to, as the dog cultivator, we have to be more focused on developing our skills and our ability, and also enriching our knowledge in the Tao or Tao's concept, so we can better able to spread the truth, to inspire people. But after we have done this, for example, we have brought a lot of people to receive the Tao, or we have also managed to keep people in the Tao, in the temple and cultivate. We should not, just become proud or become complacent. Okay, we should always think there's more room that we can improve. There are more things that we can do. Okay. And actually, if we are doing well, we don't really, don't have. If we do well, the logical result is that people will recognize. And just like Confucius, in his time, he never. I don't think he ever considered or thinks about what he's going to be known as. 100 years later or 1,000 years later, but guess what? He himself and even his descendants are still very well recognized and very well respected. Yeah, I think Transmitter Lin met with his grandson of the 72nd generation, right? And they're still very well respected in that place. Now this is talking about our words in action. Okay, Christine, can you read both?
The master said the noble man desires to be slow in speech but quick in action. The master said the noble man is humble in his speech but superb in his actions.
Okay, so we, as a person, we should be, big on actions, but they say we should be a giant in action, but a dwarf in words. So if we just keep talking about the principles, but we do not really actualize them, we do not really practice them, do you think people are going to respect us? They're going to have trust in us? They're going to, if there are a lot of people like this in the temple, doing more of the talking but less of the doing, then I guess people will lose faith, right? Yeah. So this is something we have to be careful. Do more, speak less, or talk less. Okay, we have to walk the talk. Okay, that's why sometimes I feel very inadequate, presenting this topic because I'm not doing well myself. Yeah.
She's just being humble.
Yeah, I'm not a good person to talk about this topic, but I think this is a very good topic to share with everyone. Again, this one is talking about words in action. Johnny, please.
Word.
Can't do that.
What?
Can I read it, please?
Oh.
Zigong asked about the character of the nobleman. Confucius said, first he practiced what he preaches, and then he expound on it.
Thank you. Yeah, so it's not just do what we talk about, it's also we have to practice what we talk about and see if this is a valid point, then we expound it, we spread the word. Okay. There's a good example, we all know Shun, right, the emperor, who is very virtuous. At the point of time, he was still, just a lay person. He's not an emperor, just an ordinary person. And in a way, the people kind of live off fishing. Okay. And he noticed that there's young people that are fishing near in the. Let me see. No, actually in the
Pond?
Yeah, they're fishing, but because usually when it's a deeper where it's deeper in the ponds, there are more fish. Okay, and so the young people, they can always go to, because they're stronger. They always compete the good spot. Okay, and the old people, the elder people, they have to just. Go to the shallower place, and they couldn't have much harvest. And when Shun noticed this, he didn't ask the young people to give up or to do something. He himself was fishing in a shallow pond, and so he was leading by example. And the young people were very they felt very uneasy, seeing what Shun is doing. So this is a good example of leading by example. So you have to walk the talk, and that's going to be very powerful. Now this is talking about the comparison between Junzi and Xiaoren. Okay, Junzi is the true noble person, and Xiaoren here does not mean he's an evil person, but a person who has petty mind, who is only care about his own personal interest, who is only concerned with small gains, okay, or material gains. In the Analects, there, I would say 7 or 8 paragraphs that talks about the comparison between a noble person and a petty-minded person. Okay, the first one is. Can you read
The
it?
master said, the noble man is aware of fairness, the inferior man is aware of advantage.
Okay, well, a different way to say this is noble person, he understands the yi, which means righteousness, or we say the truth or the principles. While the a small person, literary translation is a small person or a person who has petty mind. He's only concerned about gains of interest. Okay. So there's a gentleman, a true noble person. He has the big picture. He only cares about whether the general public is doing well. He's only care about the well-being of the the multitude, the big crowd of people. Okay. But the petty mind person, he only worries about whether I'm making money, or I'm being promoted, or I'm getting something from doing some project. Okay, so that's a very big difference. A good example is there's a Chinese official from the Song Dynasty. When he was the official, some people gave him a piece of land, told him that the piece of land is going to give whoever is living in there peace, health, and prosperity. Okay, so they advised him to build his own house on that piece of land. But this person is called Fan Zhongyan. Okay, he said, "Oh, it's such a good place. We say feng shui, a place with good feng shui, a good energy, good energy field." He said, if I build a house on that, it's going to only benefit my own family, right? He said, why don't I build a school on this piece of land? Then it's going to benefit, much more people. And even when the school children are, well educated, they are also able to influence more generations to come. So he gave up the piece of land and build a house on that. Yeah. And then talking about 小人, okay, they only concerned about, if they can just gain something in any situation. There are so many people who are running into the traffic light, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a joke.
And what was that term that you said?
Petty mind. Petty mind. P-E-T-T-Y. Petty mind. Okay.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah, there's a joke. Okay.
Yeah.
There's a man who ran the traffic light. Okay, so a cop stopped him, and he said, "Didn't see the light, the red light." He said, "Yeah, I saw the light, but I didn't see you."
Yeah.
That's so cute. Did you make that up?
No, this is true in Chinese.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
We have said a few times in Chinese class.
Oh, okay.
Okay, and
Christine remember that.
In Flushing, metropolis, you can see so many people double parking, right? Mm-hmm. And they just care about their own convenience. They don't know how many people they are inconveniencing, right? A lot, even bus, they have to go around the bus, and so as a dog cart member or dog member, we make sure we don't do such things. We rather inconvenience ourselves. We might want to go around the block and see a place where you can just stand for a while, but we don't. Especially sometimes I went to Astoria once, and there was like at the beginning of the road. There's a car that's double parked on this side, and there's another one that's just probably 1 or 2 cars away that's double parked on the other side of the traffic. So they just
makes it a little bit tight,
yeah. There's okay.
Selfless and selfish.
Yeah, they don't care.
Yes.
And some of them double park right in the middle of the street instead of to the very far side of the street.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they never get ticketed. The cops never ticket those that double park.
Let me put this way for you. As a cultivator, anybody can have a violation on the traffic.
Yeah.
If we do have violation on traffic, we'll be get caught quickly.
Double, triple sin.
No, we'll be caught quickly. Don't worry about it. You can try. Interesting.
Okay. Well, how can I explain the video? It's just a very interesting video that I came across. Okay. Was what? He's looking for that. I'm going to play the next one. The next slide.
Next time, probably we won't have a maybe 4 or 5 topic, and then a small discussion. 4 or 5 topic, a small discussion.
Okay.
Because by the time we go through 10, some stuff.
Yeah, I
We
know.
want to talk about it. I already. Yeah. So
Okay.
we can adjust. I think see what everybody else thinks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah. Okay. I just want to finish everything.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Let me see. Cindy, can you please read this paragraph?
The master said, the noble man thinks about virtue. The inferior man cares about material things. The noble man bears in mind discipline. The inferior man seeks favors.
Yeah. So a true gentleman always has in mind virtue, because they know, this is the truth, and that's heaven's way or heaven's style. Okay. But a petty-minded person, he always has in mind the two, means soil or the earth. Remember?
Why means on try to have.
Yeah. Yeah, because China used to be an agricultural country, right? When you have a piece of land, then it means prosperity, gain. Yeah, it's a means to a living. So at that time, they say people always bear in mind, a piece of land, or it's just the material gain.
So have money, rich,
Yeah.
wealthy, but from Buddha point of view, the virtue is more important than this material world, right? That's different.
Absolutely.
You see, the Buddha said you are rich, means you are rich in virtues, not rich in material world.
Yeah, because the virtue is going to last forever. Okay, and there's a saying in Chinese that high virtue is it's our 24/7 bodyguard. When we have virtue, the virtue is going to always protect us all the time. Yeah, because when we are virtuous, heavens can recognize that, and sometimes if something bad should happen, then they can always pull us out of that situation. Yeah. Okay. And again, a true gentleman, he always bear in mind the Xing. Literal translation is punishment. Okay, or law. So he always bears in mind the law. So for a gentleman, there's no need for law or any punishment, because they will always behave themselves properly. Okay. However, a little person, they always bear in mind the interest. Hui means the interest or selfish gains. Okay. Can you? I'm sorry.
That's okay.
I can finish.
Take your time. Take your time.
Noise?
See the dog?
Nobody? No. Nobody?
What language is that?
See the two young ladies are running the red light, right? And see the dog.
The dog. He's waiting for the light to change.
And he's looking both sides, eh?
Yeah.
That's a wise dog.
Wow.
I wonder if he is really trained or what.
That's good one.
See? Oh! What language is that?
Green light. Looks
Green
like
light.
Norwegian.
Norwegian?
Oh, that's Norwegian.
Now he crosses. Oh, what a smart dog.
But here in Flushing, how often do you? So, but they say is human being necessarily superior than to the animal?
No.
Okay, thank you.
Interesting. I like that.
Yeah, that is
Yeah.
beautiful.
That's beautiful. So always picture that in our mind.
Yeah.
Okay, now this one. Can you read it?
So the master said the noble man is always at ease with himself, the inferior man is always anxious.
Thank you. Okay, so because a noble person, he always does everything according to his conscience. He does not violate against the rules or regulations, so he always have the peace of mind. That's why they say even someone knocks on his door in midnight, he will not be stirred. What is that? Alarm.
Not worried about it.
Or alarm, because he knows it's not something bad that he did. It could be something else. Okay, but a petty-minded person, because he always takes advantage of a situation, and sometimes he might do something that's not righteous or even illegal. And guess what? He's always thinking, this sometimes, this is going to backfire, and something, he'll be caught or something. Yeah, that's why he always anxious. Okay. Okay, now again, this is the comparison between the noble person and the petty-minded person. Brenda, can you please read it?
The nobleman, the master said, the nobleman is all-embracing and not partial. The inferior man is partial and not all-embracing.
The next one.
The master said, the nobleman is in harmony but does not follow the crowd. The inferior man follows the crowd but is not in harmony.
Okay, thank you. Now the first one, it said it's all embracing. Actually, it means that, again, a true gentleman only cares about the well-being of the whole big crowd. Okay, he's not just caring about his own gain. And on the contrary, the petty-minded person is only concerned about his own, his own gain. Okay. A relevant example is the enterprises still that's doing the animal farming. We in our Dharma class we talk about how the large-scale animal farming is doing to the environment, to people's health. Because in order to mass produce all this poultry, they sometimes have to clear lands in order to plant the crops, soils, grains to feed all these animals. Okay, and because of that, there's the erosion of the land. We also lose, the rainforests, which are our natural tool in protecting, landslides or flooding and things like that. Okay, so that's damaging our environment. But do you think they really care? They only care about, how their savings will go, be more and more, the bank accounts, right? Profits, yeah, okay. But actually, they don't realize when they are not protecting the benefits or of the environment or the other people's, they're also going to hurting themselves in the long run, right? Yeah. In Chinese, there's a saying that when the nest is destroyed, how can you expect to have intact eggs, right? Yeah. You have to have a good environment in order to have, a good environment for each individual. The big environment is very important for everyone. Like earlier in China, when they built the high rises, they didn't have the compacted chutes. Okay, that was like in the 70s. And sometimes the grandmas or some of the mothers, when they are doing the cleaning, things like that, and they would throw some of the garbage out of the window. Oh. And they just land on the grass or the grounds on the first floor. And in summertime, guess what will happen? Mosquitoes, flies, But do you think the mosquitoes will only fly to others' houses? No, right? Yeah. So these are people that only, I just want to have a clean home. I don't care about the public. That's why usually our bathrooms at home are usually cleaner than public, bathrooms. Yeah, if we all have this, a gentleman's mindset, then we know we have to make sure that everywhere we go, we don't leave behind any garbage. We always leave behind a clean environment. Okay. The next one is a noble person is in harmony but does not follow the crowd. Okay. Well, this is talking about a person of virtue. He knows how to be kind, how to be harmonious with people, but it doesn't mean that he has to follow suit. Because he might be going along with many different people from different trades, with different background or different personality. Okay, he should be able. A gentleman should be able to deal with this person and still be respectful to them. But it doesn't mean that he has to do what they are doing. Okay. Yeah, so this is very, very important. For example, we have some temple kids who might be raised as vegetarians, but then when they go to school, people are also eating non-vegetarians, and they are some buddies, right? They are very close, and sometimes if friends told, if you are not going to eat the non-vegetarian stuff, I'm not going to make friends with you. Well, so now it calls for wisdom. The kids can always, talk with the other kids, the benefits of being a vegetarian, right? And, hopefully try to, if he cannot convert the person to be a vegetarian, at least they can still be friends, and they can he can just be himself, still, following his own, vegetarian, living style. Yeah. Okay. However, a petty money person, he may, on the surface, he may be very harmonious with everyone, but inside of him, he might be, we say judging people. Okay. So this is not the right approach. So on the outside, he might be charming with people. Okay. In order to win support or favor and things like that, but inside he may be thinking totally the opposite way. Okay, so this is something we should guard against. Okay. Anyone want to add anything to this point?
On the last one, also very important concept Buddha always talk about. On this society, what people are pursuing: fame, power, money, pleasures, material world, whatever. But from Buddha point of view, as long as we have enough, we don't want to overdo. That's very important, because once we overdo, our mind going to be dragged into that. So not going to be helpful for our life, really. Because as long as we have enough to survive, enough to use, enough to make a living, that's all Buddha thinking. Human beings, you got 1 million, we are pursuing for 2 million, 5 million, you want to become billionaire, right? Whatever. So human beings, that's what Buddha always said. For people, the mindset, especially last year, our holy teachers said, in USA, people become very gongli, means pursue the.
They are very pragmatic.
Yeah. So especially USA, people come to here, think about it. I want to become rich, famous, and right? And it's that kind of mindset. Teacher remarks, we gotta be always be careful, don't overdo it, because we pay with our health. Because once you dig into that, one day when we get older, we got all the issues with our health. It's not worth it. So don't overdo it.
In Greece, in the Golden Age, there was a school, the Stoic school, which says the same. Yeah. Basically, the goal was to reduce your needs to the minimum and be happy with whatever you have.
That's good. That's good.
And there was a movement called Decluttering, right? A few years ago, yeah. And there was an entrepreneur who used to own a lot, but something happened to his family. I think he broke up with his wife, and he went through some, introspection, and he found out, little is more. Yeah. and I just actually read an article by Katie Couric, or an interview by Katie Couric. They're also trying to minimizing our living space because they realize the more space we have, the more problem we also have to. I guess because you have to have a lot of money to maintain such a space, and so this kind of trigger our enhance our desire for material things.
That's what our 18 matron always match. As a staff members, you have a white shirt, right, with a uniform. You just need a couple sets. That's it. You don't need too many of them. You don't have to worry about what we have to wear to go to temple every day. So you dress the same way regularly. So you really don't need too many shoes, too many pair of clothes at home. So that's
Okay, let's go to the next slide. Okay. Rolando, can you read the 2 paragraphs?
No, I don't have my glass.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Daniel.
Daniel.
The one on top and the one on the bottom?
Both.
Yeah.
Both.
The master said, "The nobleman esteemed himself but does not content. He has friends but does not form a clique." The bottom 2?
Yes.
The master said, "The nobleman is self-confident without being arrogant. The inferior man is arrogant and lacks self-confidence."
Thank you. The first one, a gentle gentleman, he's always has high self-esteem. Okay, he's always very dignified, but he will not go into any contention. And Buddhas and saints, when they channel during Dharma class, they usually always bring up this point. Okay, and remember, in essence, we are all from the same source. So there's no distinction between you and me. So there's no need for contention. When we have contention, then we have adversary. And when there's adversary, then we are creating bad karma. And this is going to tarnish our Buddha nature. It's going to affect us, in the life after this. Okay, so no contention. We should be always harmonious with everyone, be peaceful. Although we can have different opinions, even when we have different opinions, we always talk about it nicely. We don't have to scream. We don't have to pull a long face, right? Okay, and then. They can, a true gentleman can get along with people, but they don't form a clique. It's some kind of
small group of people.
Groups of people who think they have a common goal, or who think they think like alike, or they have the same background. We as a dog cultivator, we should try to be friends with everyone. Yeah, in unison with everyone. Yeah, and of course there are people who might not identify with the dog at the beginning, but we just take it easy. Whenever there's a chance to talk about the dog, the principles, we grasp that opportunity. But if the timing is not there yet, then we kind of just set it aside, and eventually, if we have sincerity, we probably can, help the person to also receive the Dao. But the important thing is that, especially in a temple, we should not be forming any kind of groups. Yeah, we should feel everyone is our family, our brother and sisters. Okay. Anyone want to add?
So, based on that, those ethnic groups that have the ridiculous belief that they are superior, they are very special, they are creating bad karma for themselves.
Yeah. Thank you. The next one, the noble person is self-confident without being arrogant. When someone has some success or makes some good accomplishments, if the person has high virtue, this is from his Buddha nature. The Buddha nature is very powerful. It's almighty, right? So it's something very natural. So they don't have to brag about themselves, right? Because it's in the Buddha nature. But a inferior person or the petty-minded person, when they do something, they will become very conceited. They feel they are superior to other people. But actually, this is because they really don't have that confidence in themselves. If they know that they have that Buddha nature, and the Buddha nature will enable them to do so many things, then there's nothing to brag about. There's nothing to be proud of, right? Yeah, it's just very natural. So actually, this paragraph also talk about the first one is Tai, self-confident. Okay, it means that when there's good time, the gentleman he's still at ease. He's not being overexcited, overjoyed. However, yeah, okay. But as a petty-minded person, when he encounters some difficulties, then he starts complaining. He's starting putting blames on others. Circumstances are not right, or the peoples are not cooperating. Things like that. Okay. So if we are in similar situation, always look inward and see if there's anything we are not doing well, or even if it's the change of the circumstances, then we should also have that wisdom to have the ability to adapt to the situation, to the circumstance. That's true wisdom.
That's why you could say.
Oh, Carrie. I'm sorry.
That's why you could say that we encourage reflecting at the end of the day. To be able to look at the differences and be able to make up for the differences tomorrow
Okay.
to do better.
Well, now that you mentioned this, do you think you have been doing this?
I've been trying.
Okay.
I do reflect, but change is a little difficult sometimes.
So do you think the introspection at the end of the day helps?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Carrie, please read the both paragraphs.
The master said, the nobleman helps people attain virtuous goals, not their evil intentions. The inferior man does the opposite. The master said, the nobleman seeks within himself, the inferior man seeks from others. Okay, so the second paragraph actually talks about what we just mentioned. Okay, if something is not going on well, then we don't put the blame on the external things. Rather, we look inward, we reflect inward and see how we can improve ourselves so we don't run into such a situation in the future. The first one is a noble person will help people attain virtuous goals. What are the virtuous goals? Okay, for example, I'm going to talk to a person and ask him to receive the Tao, just one people. And I need people to help because I'm not very good at talking about the principles and things. So I asked Jane, can you please come along? Okay, and Jane said, oh yeah. So this is helping me attain my good goals, right? Going back to our paragraph just now, so the petty-minded person, a true gentleman will help others accomplish a good goal, a virtuous goal, but he will not help a person with evil intention, will not be accomplice, right? Accomplice. Yeah. Okay. What's this? Like, sometimes people might have some complaints about certain people in the temple or at work. So we don't kind of, just go with them and say, oh yeah, I agree. Or he's that kind of personality. Or at the temple, well, I'm not learning or I'm not improving and things like that. I might not want to come back anymore. And then you say, oh yeah, I agree. Maybe I'm not coming back either.
Now these are things that we should not, we should be guarding against. Okay. Then, so this what a true gentleman should do. But a petty money person would do just the opposite. Okay. When some people is trying to do something good for others, then he would do whatever he can to discourage him, to prevent the person to do something good.
Right.
Yeah. Okay, because they don't want the person to have accomplishment, to be successful.
It's almost like the wandering spirits fighting us to
Yeah.
become better than what we are.
Mm-hmm. And the other, the evil deeds, knowing that the evil deeds might land a person in jail or something. And if this petty money person is having some kind of problem, relationship problem with the other person, then he might encourage him, oh, go ahead and do it, and then he would be happy to see the person in jail. Okay, that's the mindset of a petty money person. Okay, then the next paragraph, I think we talk about a lot about this. To always reflect inwards. If something does not happen, to our expectation, don't blame it on others. If we are always looking externally for the problems, for solutions, then we will never improve, and things will, the situation will never improve. Okay. Anyone want to add something?
I just heard some readers stuff. Our holy teacher said, if somebody might criticize us or say something bad about us, what teacher suggests us the answer. Thank you for your suggestions. I may not do perfectly, but I will review that. Yeah. So our holy teacher said, thank you very much. Suggest us to answer that way.
Yeah. Just like I said, this Chinese thing, if somebody criticizes us, if there's a point to it, then we, take the advice and try to improve ourselves. If what he said may not be right, then we still would use that as a warning or our motto, MOTTO, so that, in future we don't commit such a problem or such a fault. Okay. Now, next one. Sister Chen, can you read it? Both paragraphs.
The master says the noble man does not promote a man because of his worth, and does not disregard the word because of the man. The master said, if you don't have an official position, you should not make plans for administration.
Okay, thank you. The first paragraph is saying that we often say that we should not judge people by what he does on the outside. We should not judge a teapot by its lid, right?
No, they say don't judge a book by its cover.
By its cover.
And the same thing with people.
Yeah, because sometimes we can speak, say something wrong, but that's not our true intention. It could be just a slip of tongue, or it could be at some point of time we might have some misconception or misunderstanding, but we should not just use that to judge a person, to just define the person as such a person. Okay, so. And the other way is that, but we don't also, because the person is not very virtuous, then we would just disregard whatever he says. I think the sixth patriarch also says something. Even a person that's very low in position might have some, good wisdom. But a person who is in a very high position might also have what? Missteps. Okay. So, we should not, do such. The next one is, if you don't have an official position, you should not make any plans for the administration. So this paragraph is talking about that we should try to do things that's within our authority, within our territory. For example, at the temple, we are not trying to do things or say something that, like a transmitter. Well, you can say we don't cross the border.
Overstep your authority or whatever.
Authority.
Boundaries.
Yeah. Sometimes you hear something, but that's a decision of the temple. We, as just a Dao member, is not supposed to just tell everyone to publicize it. It has to be, a person in charge of the temple. Sometimes it can be the transmitter, or it can be the administrator of the Dao Center who has to announce the decision. Okay, because sometimes we might come to this decision, but after some other considerations, this decision might not be, the right thing. But you already told everyone about this decision, and it's very hard for, the administrator to have to, modify tell people that the decision has changed. So we are not supposed to do such things to disrupt the order of the temple.
Since you talk about this one, yesterday I read one story in the Dharma class. Our holy teacher said, holy teacher said, in USA there is a Dharma class. The teacher was channeled in and told the people that you are all master doctor degree. Oh, most of you, master and doctor. The other transmitter, who I think she probably come from Taiwan. She doesn't have. She's a very old lady. Did not have a high education. I think you don't have respect. You look down on her. Okay, that's all those mothers, and they are so high doctors. Okay, and teacher said, transmitter are set handpicked by teachers. Okay, he said, everything is very harmony and smooth. Sometimes transmitter could make a mistake on policy or some decisions, but heaven will be turned a little bit on those areas, then everything will become smooth and harmony. Don't worry about that. So teacher said this is heaven and earth work together for those kind of propagate the Tao together. So it's not just human world only. So that's teacher said in the Dhamma class.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah.
I have a question on what you just read. That probably applies to the temple, but what about it on society? You say something is very wrong, like you have a bad government or people are corrupt. I think you have the right to challenge them. Otherwise, we cooperate. But if we don't challenge when something is wrong.
Yeah, that's why we have to use our marvelous wisdom. When something's wrong, we should have the wisdom and the courage to speak up to let every other people hear the message, right? When it applies to the temple again, although we say everyone has everyone's authority or their own mission or task, like we are not supposed to do the task of a director, right? We say 超时 a director, whether it's lecturer or transmitter. But sometimes, for example, if the director happens to be absent, he couldn't come, and then maybe the transmitter appoint us to do the job temporarily. Then you say, oh no, this is not beyond this is not in my authority, then I'm not doing it. Because this is like a temporary situation, and we already have the permission or the approval from the transmitter to do the job, then we just go ahead and do it. Am I right?
Yeah, let's come back to make the example. For example, transmitter are human being. They could make a mistake. Then if we don't like it, we don't agree with them, we are fine. We can talk to them privately in the room and then say, okay, can we do differently? What do you think on this area? But we don't get angry, upset, and then point at. Even just a temple member, new member coming in, they made a mistake. We don't blame them in public. We can talk to them in private. We save their faces. You know what I mean? Because they are new, we need to help them to mature. They are learning. So even some new member made a mistake, we should talk to them. Maybe go to the room and say, can we do it a little differently in this area? So help them to make a progress. So we don't blame them in public. So we don't do that. Come back to the Rolando's good question here. In the public, you're going to see all kinds of problems there. We can suggest our point of view, but we don't want to get angry, upset, and then that will create a karma for ourselves. So that's important, because once we get angry, upset, we become part of karma. So there was one example previously. Holy teacher make one example. In this person and the other person, this person is criticized this person already, even in a temple. Okay? So for example, she criticized her. Then I heard it, and I come over and just say, yeah, she's like that. Originally, karma between these two people is only in this life, it could be future lives. When I say yes, she's like that, the karma belongs to among three of us for this lifetime and next lifetime too. So the important thing is, she doesn't. The way I can help is, she may not mean it. Okay, she maybe did not mean that way. Then we need to think differently. She had a different heart, but she didn't speak right. Then we can harmony, reduce the karma between them. We also get married too, in this case. Yeah. Does you have a comment on this? Yeah. Anybody else?
Yeah, so we're better off just being quiet and let them settle it themselves.
No, you try to smooth things. No, you try to smooth things so it does not develop into more karma or more conflict among the people.
One's always asking for an opinion when you have two people challenging each other.
Yeah. Doesn't matter. We do our best to smooth things for both sides.
Right.
Cut down those conflicts. If we can cut down that conflict. You get married. So.
But we're not doing it for merit now. We're doing it from the sincerity of our heart to smooth things out. Yes.
Yeah. So but if we add more fire to this pot, right?
Yours to the fire.
Then now, right.
Yeah, so it has to be from our Buddha nature. Yeah. And remember, what we say has to be righteous, has to be in accordance with the Tao, with our conscience. And we also say it in a nice way, so we don't escalate the problem.
Yeah. Anybody else?
Talking about, can I make some statement?
Yeah.
Now, talking about this, the 14 to 26, so we don't have the official position. We're not overstep that position. So, and Rolando is talking about the corruption, and we want to challenge it in public. This is more like an inner heart. It's more go inside. But if we want to go outside, say that some people make corruption, the government, some people or our system, our company, and we want to challenge that. We have to go by, even we want to do make some action, we have to go by proper procedure. We don't overstep, we don't overcross the line. So it's more like that. And also in the middle doctrine, Zhongyong said that this was 数位而行, take a position, we comply with the position that we have, we stay where we are. It's more like, yes, we have to take a position. We don't overstep the position, but also, and then another meaning is if we stay, maybe some people are wealthy, they're fame, but even if we are wealthy, if we were wealthy, then we have to do what I mentioned here is self-identity. Identity is very important. If we feel we are wealthy, then we have to do the wealthy people do it. No, we don't spend money for ourselves. We have to spend the money for people, for others, for the people who need it, who need the wealthy. That's the behavior of the wealthy people. That's also the whole position. Don't overstep. That's identity. I think self-identity is very important. We have to identify who we are, what we are. Even when we have more, then what is our identity? To give out people, to help people, right? On the other side, if we are the poor, right, or we have the difficulty, or some, we can say that the test given by the God, by the heaven, then we have to pass the test. We have to work harder. Even we are poor, we are in a poor position, we still have to know the identity. I think identity is very important, especially in the society. How do we keep that identity? How we awaken that identity that we have, and then hold the identity, and then work harder, move forward. Everything is for other people. Even if it's a test for us, we have to overcome it. So that's what we call 数位而行, this Chinese word. So that's how what's called middle doctrine talking about this. Yeah.
That's important in the temple regulation. 数位而行。Yeah.
That's one of the 15 precepts. Buddha's regulations. Okay. Well, there's actually a lot more paragraphs about the definition of a true noble person in the Analects, but we cannot cover everything. So I just picked some of them. Let's go to the next slide. Okay, we know about all these good qualities, the good virtues of a gentleman, but what's also important is that how long can we carry on the good, the good virtues, the good, character traits. Let me see. Sister Mei-Ling.
The master said, I have not yet been able to meet a sage, but I would be satisfied to meet a noble man. I have not yet met a man of true goodness, but would be satisfied to meet a man of constancy.
Thank you. This paragraph actually carries two messages. The first one, in order for one to be a sage, one has to be a noble person first, a superior person. A superior person is a necessary step to becoming enlightened, to become a Buddha. First, we have to be a noble person, and then we have to be a person of good virtue, and then we could probably have the opportunity to become a sage, and then from that point on to become a Buddha. Okay, that's why Lao Shi, Holy Teacher, always say, in order to attain Buddhahood, we have to perfect our humanity first. Okay, and that's humanity is the traits, the characteristic of a true gentleman. But how long can we really be, especially earlier on in our cultivation? We know the good things to do, the good habits to form, but how long can we really carry on? That's why Confucius said that if we cannot see a sage, a true noble person, or a kind person, that he would be happy to see a person of constancy. I would say it's a person who is always consistent, who can persevere, who can always be consistent in his behavior, in his speech. So this is very, very important. In other parts of the Analect, Confucius said that his disciples knows about the principles, the truth, but some of them might be good for only a couple of days. And he said Yan Hui, he could be good for a couple of months. Well, actually we know Yan Hui, one of the very important or very well-respected disciple of Confucius. He's a very virtuous person, and he's always like this, whether it's in front of people or when he's only by himself. Okay, so it's very important that we are always consistent, and that we can always be virtuous. There are people who come to the temple and they might feel happy to be here for some time, but then there will be some outside temptation. Then they kind of lose faith, or they think differently, and they don't come to the temple anymore. That's why Transmitter Jane always said we have to wait till our last breath to have that to have the judgment, right? Yeah, because there are people who in China is say 50成道40罪. Okay, maybe the next day we will become a Buddha already, but then today something happened and we change our mind. We just backstep, and then we kind of what we did in the past just go down the drain. Yeah. Okay. So
50 means 11 to 1, okay? 11.
Yeah.
11, okay. Then 11 o'clock, by the time we probably leave this world, we become a Buddha. But we fell before 11 o'clock. And a few minutes before that, we fell. So we didn't fulfill. Oh wow! Then we didn't make it. Just right before that. So
step away.
Yeah. So that's just a moment. So we call it a whole lifetime.
Yeah.
We screwed up at the end, just for the short moment. That's it.
Okay.
It's in vain. Yeah.
It's Zhongyong, right? Doctrine of the Mean says that Tao should not be parted with for even a second. So it has to be with us all the time, 24/7, 365. Okay. Let's go next slide. Okay. Who would volunteer? Let you do.
Judy.
Okay, the master said the noble man stands in all the three things. He is in awe of the decree of heaven. He is in awe of the great man. He is in awe of the words of the sages. The inferior man does not know the decree of the heaven. He takes great men lightly and laughs at the words of the sages.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so well, some way you can say the three or fears, but I don't think fear is the right word. Or, okay, so he is in awe of three things. The first one is the heaven's mandate or the decree of the heaven. This actually talks about the Tao, the absolute truth. We say that the conscience, the ultimate virtue. Okay, it's what we've been talking about all the time, right? Causality, and also all the truth and principles. Okay. This is the essence of everything, and this is the source of everything. The second one is he's in awe of the 大人. Literal translation is big person, but here actually it refers to a person who really understands or recognizes the heaven's mandate. Okay, or in Confucius' other classic, which is the Great Learning. The Great Learning, it means the person who already learned about the Great Learning and also practice the Great Learning. The Great Learning is the truth principles, the 5 virtues, the 8 virtues, and all the the good principle, the truth. Okay, and then he's also in awe of the words by sages. Okay, this refers to what? We have the scriptures by Buddhas and saints during the Dharma class. We also have like the 4 books by the ancient sages. Okay, now a true gentleman, he understands the heaven's mandate. So that's why he would be in awe. He would be respecting the second half. Because we know Tao or the conscience or the true principle, it's not tangible. It's nothing you can see, you can touch. So it relies on a person to pass on the message, to be the messenger. And so a true gentleman is the messenger of the truth. Okay, so we have to respect the person, and we also have to respect the sage's words, because they are always words of wisdom, compassion. Okay. However, a petty-minded person, he does not recognize heaven's mandate. He would not believe that there is a heaven's mandate. So he would do whatever he would, and then he would be respectful. He would respect a person of high virtue. Okay, the 大人 is a gentleman, a true gentleman, or a person of high virtue. Okay, for example, like Yan Hui, we know he's a very virtuous person, but at a point, someone from the Confucius class lost some money, and they were suspecting that Yan Hui took the money. Okay, actually, this is because they don't recognize, that Yan Hui is such a person. So we should not be suspecting people of good virtue. For example, a transmitter has also very good virtue, so we should not do anything to disrespect a transmitter or someone who has good virtue. And then we should not. It says love sad. That's actually a very light word for the Chinese. It actually insults. The right translation should be to insult the words of a sage. For example, every time when we have Buddha channeling during the Dharma class, there's always the scripture. Of course, we are always marveling at the poems, right? How it has the headers, and that header becomes what we call the header scripture, and how it always rhymes at the end. And each line has different meanings. But when it comes to the plain language scripture, we always think, those are simple. I know them all the time. But this is not the right mindset. Knowing them is one thing, but to really practice them is another thing. We often fall short on the action part. Right? And remember, even as plain and simple as the scripture is, they always tells us an important message. Yeah, I remember there is a scripture from in a temple in North Carolina, in which Holy Teacher or Buddha said, ask the members not to play with water. Okay, it seems very simple, right? People didn't really take it seriously. And there was a young lecturer who went to, I don't know which ocean.
Mexican.
Oh, really? Okay.
Mexico one.
California. Oh, okay. And guess what? The young lecturer, he was very, I was told he's very talented, and he got drowned. So we really have to be very respectful to what Buddhas and saints tell us. Sometimes if it does not apply to us, like some of the habits that Buddhas and saints mention, but we always use that to remind us not to have that type of bad habits or bad thinking. Okay.
Come back to this story because there was a Dharma class in I forgot California. Then our Holy Teacher said that put on one sentence there.
It's Guanyin.
Yeah, Guanyin Dipusawa say one sentence there. Don't go to the water. Don't play with water. Don't go to you go to beach. We didn't pay attention that sentence because during Dharma class one sentence doesn't mean anything. We have one lecturer. He's 38 years old. Okay, very young, pretty good lectures. And he went with his girlfriend there, but he was drowned. Okay, he died. So a week later, we say, teachers, the Guanyin Buddha said that last week we didn't pay attention to the sentence because they give you a hint. They cannot reveal the secret of heaven. Okay, they cannot reveal this karma, cause and effect. So they only can give us a hint. Okay, so sometimes we did not realize the hint meaning of hint. And it happened, unfortunately, he died.
Yeah, so the message, I mean, they give, the Buddhas, they'll give a message, but they can't be direct. They can't be direct, so it's kind of like a general thing. And then, so we have to, anything that the Buddha says, we reflect on that. We have to look within and take it, you could take it seriously. Even though it was kind of like out of context with the rest of the thing that was being said. Yeah. It's like just in the middle, it's just completely different from what was being said. But, we don't have that wisdom. We don't have that, we can't see the future. We don't know, this is something, a warning. But, so we need to reflect on the words and really use our wisdom to try to understand what's being the meaning behind it. It's hard. It's hard.
Hard to understand. But it happened to the other temple. One female temple members, her husband asked the Dharma asked teachers. So he is waiting to take part of karma of his wife. Okay? Because his wife is in the last stage of cancer. Pretty much over. And then, you know what teacher said? Teacher said, I told your wife to be a vegetarian, make a vow 3 months ago. Your wife tried 1 month. That's it. And then kind of, I already told her what to do, but she didn't continue to do it. At this moment, teacher only can do the best he can. But about three plus months later, his wife died. So a lot of stuff, Buddha try to send a message. A lot of time, when they ask us, cultivate as soon as possible, do this, all those vegetarian vow, all the stuff, don't hesitate. They are sending a message. We could have a bad karma behind chasing us. We don't see it. You know what I mean? We don't see it.
Okay. So this paragraph is encouraging us to be respectful to heaven's decree, to the truth, to the principle, to people of virtues. That's why we do a lot of bowings at temple, because by bowing we are being respectful to Buddhas in sense, and they are people they have been human beings, right? Only when they pass away they become a Buddha and sage. But when we are bowing, try to always bear in mind that the virtues they have, their virtues and what they have done for human beings, for all this our human society. That when we are doing that, then we are also modeling ourselves up to them, and this is how we can aspire to become them, become a Buddha in sense. So don't just take bowing and all these proprieties at temple as tedious work or as something very hard. It's the the mentality behind all this bowing, and also it's our attitude in doing all this bowing. Okay, when we are doing the bowings, we have to have that sincerity at heart. Okay.
5 minutes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, actually, I don't know if it's Einstein or Socrates. Socrates. There's a story about him. When he's inviting people to tea, he always put an extra cup of tea there. Okay, like there are 5 people, he always have 6 cups of tea. And his friend would ask him, "What's that tea for?" Guess what? He said, "That's for the truth." Yeah. Okay, my last slide. Who would like to? Christine?
Okay. The master said the noble man has 9 aspirations. In seeing, he aims for clarity. In listening, he aims for sharpness. In countenance, he strives to emit warmth. In attitude, he projects courtesy. In speech, he strives for sincerity. In service, he strives for reverence. In doubt, he is inclined to question. When angry, he foresees the ensuing hazard if he vents the rage. When he sees an opportunity for gain, he thinks of what would be just.
Okay, thank you. All right. So this kind of sums up everything, right? The first one, it says 九思 in Chinese. 思 can mean consideration or thinking, but it's translated as aspiration here. I think it can also say we exercise 9 discretion in 9 aspects. Okay. In seeing, in listening, in our attitude, our outward appearance, in also our attitude in speech, in our service, okay, in doubts. Okay, these are all things that we can use as our guideline, okay? And I think they are pretty straightforward, so I'm not going to elaborate on them. And so one of the very important criteria in being, the important criterion in being a true gentleman is remember the 3 virtues we talked about, okay? The wisdom, benevolence, and courage. And Confucius, when he talks about the noble person, he also mentions the righteousness a lot, okay? So righteousness or the truth principle is really our guideline, is our benchmark. Whether we do things right, whether or not we should do this or we should not do that. Okay, but sometimes people might interpret it in the wrong way. For example, one of Mencius' disciple asked Mencius, if my sister-in-law is drowning, can I reach out to help her? Because in Confucianism, it's always important to have a distinction, to have the respectful distance between gentlemen and ladies, right? But so he said, should he help a sister-in-law who's drowning? Okay, so Mencius said, just use your righteousness as your guideline, because if you don't save her, then she will be drowned, right? And that's something not righteous. Okay, so sometimes we might come to a situation that you think might go against the virtues or the principles, but actually, it just calls for some flexibility or adaptability to the situation, right?
Buddha nature.
Buddha nature. Okay. Okay. I guess this concludes my very, very ineffective presentation of the topic.